Lake Bell, it is great to see you again.
It's nice to see you, Dave. How are you?
I am ready to talk summering. And Sarah, I got to tell you, I love your videos. I love your videos. I love what you do. And you've been given some new content. So I can't wait to see what you're going to do. So
Thanks, Dave.
that's all I'll say. I love it. All right. I want to know, Lake, what your takeaway is from working on this film, because just talk to your director and the depths, the layers. This movie has stayed with me since I saw it earlier in the week and last week, actually. And it's still in my head, but what's your takeaway?
I mean, look, James Ponsoldt, he's a great filmmaker, and he's sort of, we have a lot of camaraderie in sort of Sundance and independent filmmaking, and so when he asked me to be a part of it, I was like, of course, man, like, get me on a plane, I'm out there. And especially to boot, it's 90% female cast. I was just like, hell yeah, sign me up. So I think my takeaway is really, this is such a beautiful, nostalgic story that also feels really contemporary, and timeless. I mean, we're dealing, children and adults alike are sort of navigating levels of anxiety and fear, just at a disproportionate level. And it's like, we've come out of this 2.5-year stint of COVID and isolation. And so it's really resonant. I mean, this idea of finding a dead body in the woods is like, that's sort of symbolic to how, sort of how we feel. It's like, what do you do under extraordinary circumstances when you're not equipped to deal with them? So
I agree with everything you said. And I'm so happy you brought up the fact that it is a predominantly all-female cast. And Sarah, I want to get your thoughts on that. Is that something that drew you into it? And how did this make you reflect on your own life?
Yeah, it is something that drew me in, and I one of my favorite movies is Heavenly Creatures, and the way that James and everyone on the team brought to life these little girls' imaginations. I just felt like, oh, we don't get to see little girls having an adventure like this, and so yeah, I loved that it was an all-female cast, and it's interesting because if there's like an all-male cast, we don't really say that, it's just a movie. So hopefully one day it's just a movie, but right now you don't get to see this so much. So it's really great to be able to bring this to the big screen.
I'm a mama's boy, so I always recognize that when that is something, because you're right. I want to get to the fact where it's a movie, but right now we just got to keep pushing that. Listen, I really enjoyed this conversation. You two are just amazing. And again, thanks for your time. And again, it's still sinking in with me, this film on so many levels, but thoroughly enjoyed today. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Dave.
Cool. Sarah, make that video. He got rated.
Never gonna happen.
No pressure.
No, I love her videos. They're so freaking good. All right, y'all. Take care. James, nice to meet you, my friend.
Very nice to meet you too. How you doing?
I'm doing great. And I want to start off right off the top, and let's talk about the title of this film. We're going to break down the inspiration, and we're going to break down the theming. I loved it, by the way. It's just so many layers to it, and we'll break that down. But summering. And as I think about it now, I saw it, several days ago, but the name itself has just sunk. It just continues to sink in. Tell me where the title, and I don't ask this question a lot, but I really want to ask it on this particular film. Where did that come from?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a word to use a season as a verb. It's not something that I do often in my everyday life, but I think what it suggests, if we're one summering, it suggests you're not in work. You're not in school. Maybe you're taking it easy. Maybe with your friends. There's the heat, the sort of that time of life. And the title's a little bit ironic because this is actually about the end of summer and the end of childhood, the end of summering for these kids in a way.
Well, it made me reflect too, because we're at that time period right now. Everybody's getting ready to go back to school. transition into fall. If it ever cools down where I'm at, it's 1,000 degrees here.
Yeah.
Maybe everywhere. But as I think about summer, and it makes me think back to like this summer. And then you go down the path of like summers from the past. Is that to you the heart of this story?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I have 3 young kids, and being a parent has so seriously affected the way that I look at stories, and especially stories that are anchored from the perspective of young people that have that subjectivity. And I've just, the more time I spend with my kids talking to them about what's happening in the world and about the exciting things, but also the scary things, the anxieties they have, like first loss, losing a pet, losing a grandparent, COVID, all of those things, I realize that like we all are experiencing and going through the same things, but we have different tools when we're a kid than when we're an adult. And there's some things that we forget as adults, and we're trying to connect. And sometimes that we're just on different pages. But I really wanted to tell this story through the lens of kids and the subjectivity of kids and their friendship before they're teenagers, before they're on a sprint towards adulthood.
And I hear the inspiration in the answer you just gave me. So I'm going to move on to this one in the time that we have. I always admire and respect filmmakers that get projects done during the pandemic, the challenges that are there. But I understand that you actually had to deal with fires because you shot this in Utah. I want to hear about that, the challenges to get this done. And again, congratulations on doing it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, for the cast and crew, myself, like we were all so, after having been home for so long, we were so grateful to be able to make this film. We understood it was a great privilege. And so we took our own, safety or physical safety or emotional safety, everyone really seriously, especially with a film with young people where their families become a part of the crew. They're there with you. And yeah, we all went through a lot. Much of the Western United States felt like it was on fire last summer. There was smoke coming in from surrounding states. We were filming in Utah, and there was COVID and the immense heat. And so I think that overall it was beautiful. It was summer, but there was an anxiety, I think, that we were experiencing as a cast and crew, that the young actors were experiencing with their parents, that the characters were experiencing with the actors playing their parents. It all sort of echoed off each other, and it made us grateful to be together to tell this story.
My friend, you're a man of no excuses. You just get it done, and you got it done with Summering. Thanks. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, dude. I have so many more I could ask you, but I loved your filmmaking style. This was fun to watch.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you again later down the road. See
I'll
ya.
look forward to it. All right. Take care.
Cool.